What's going on? It's time for another episode of Too Hard for the Radio. Transmitting from the future-free state of Greater Idaho, I am the one-armed madman. Back with me today, we've got from the Badlands of Southern Montana, it's Nolan 5150 in the house.
Yo.
What's up, man? How we doing?
I'm kicking. There's a lot of ambient stress floating around the country right now, so it's
really what's going on?
Palpable. I don't nothing much. I mean,
something got everybody all fired up for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
was there a big football game last weekend?
No, dude. The Dodgers, they're about to sweep.
The Dodgers. So all the Mexicans are going crazy. I love watching fights at Dodger games because it's like a white guy in a Braves hat surrounded by 20 Mexicans in Dodgers gear just wailing on him. And, you know, you kind of got to know what you're getting into in a situation like that. You know, you don't show up to a Raiders game in Niners gear. That's just something you don't do. It's not smart. You end up in the black hole.
Uh-huh.
And we're not talking about downtown Oakland. So what's up? How we been doing? How's it going?
All right, man. Just trying to ease into these shop foreman shoes and stuff, and work's obviously been slow. It's like a hat trick right now with an election year, with the economy and the shitter. And
no one wants to spend money right now.
And going into winter in our neck of the woods, it's just like graveyard for the motorcycle industry, basically. And it's a little bit scary, man. I just saw this morning that the Los Angeles Harley Davidson's shutting their doors October 31st. And I can't remember the other ones.
When you let people run in there and steal stuff and don't do anything about it, they have to shut their doors, right? People just pulling runners down there in Southern California. I'm joking.
I'm not sure. I skimmed through an article that was talking about apparently they were trying to relocate and they just didn't really have any viable options or whatever. So
and also they're not going to be able to sell bikes there in another 5 years. So what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why would you want to invest in a long-term project that's going to get fucked with? Like, I don't think the electric vehicle, mandate will actually stand. But you can't, as a business, you can't, invest millions of dollars into a new location if you're not sure if you're going to be able to sell a bike there in 5 years. It's just like, hey, we'll go over to Reno. There's a big bike shop in Reno called what's it called? I don't remember what it's called. Michael's. And I bought a bike there once. We bought like a KX80 there one time. And they're selling more bikes than any other shop on the West Coast right now because everybody from California is just going over to Reno.
Yeah, it's, common sense. The California government is basically strangling these businesses and everything, and
literally strangling motorcycles with all the emissions bullshit that they have to go through. One of my favorite things is I watch these idiots with Starks, the electric bike. They show up to the track with their fucking generator in tow. And Stark is still it's funny because motorcycle riders don't give a shit about the environment. We don't care. Fuck off, shut up. We don't believe you. Just leave us alone, right? And Stark is advertising it's environmentally friendly. And it takes a special kind of retard to think that a generator is going to be less harmful, emissions-wise than a high-tolerance 4-stroke dirt bike. Those bikes are so fucking, everything on them is tight. They're so efficient. They burn so fucking hot that they're not putting anything out hardly for emissions. You can stand behind one of those things and breathe it in. They do it after somebody wins, they blow the bike up and drink beer out of the exhaust. There's nothing going on in those motors because everything is burning so fucking hot and just efficiency. And then you've got a small gas engine. I just got a new leaf blower, just a little 2-stroke leaf blower, and the thing's got a serious bog on the bottom end. And like, it doesn't matter because it's a leaf blower, but like a dirt bike, you don't get that. Even with a carbureted dirt bike, if you have a little bog like that that's going to pop out some smoke, you just go a little leaner on the jets and you're good.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you, it's a brand new leaf blower, you said?
Brand new still.
Yeah. I bought a chainsaw a couple years back, and I had kind of a similar problem. And my theory, I had to battle. I attempted to pull the carburetor out and clean it and rebuild it myself a little bit. Didn't really replace anything. There's like dude, those kind of small 2-stroke engine carburetors they're like micro carburetors. It's insane.
Yeah.
I'd never been into one before, but I was like, it's a carburetor. How hard can it be?
Yeah.
But they got like
have you ever seen one off of an RC car?
Yeah.
The whole engine, you're just like, my gosh, how can you get that thing to work like that?
But yeah, I struggled with it. There's like a little diaphragm that is like a combination of like the float and the needle and everything.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And it seemed good. I mean, it was still pliable, didn't have any cracks in it or anything. I struggled with it for a little while. Finally bit the bullet, took it into the Ace Hardware in town, and yeah, apparently they just threw a new one of those in there, put it back together. It was good to go. And I haven't had any problems with it. I still go out there and fire it up every once in a while just to get the juices flowing and stuff on it. But my theory is because
a hell of a machine, right? It's an incredible machine.
But my theory is those brand new ones, man, they sit on the shelf so long, and usually they get like they get brought in. If they're not ran at the factory, they're started, they're fired up, made sure they're good, and then they're put on a shelf and sat who knows how long. So you buy a brand new one, and you're going to run into a lot of problems, like especially runnability issues and stuff like that right out of the gate. When odds are it's just it sat on the shelf for too long, and you could probably go in there, fucking tell them to rebuild it, and probably run great.
Yeah, probably. We had a small gas engine shop in Cloverdale. I don't remember what it was called, but they were McCutcheon's, I think, ran it. But man, they were good with those engines. You bring in an engine that was, like a lawnmower. You find old lawnmowers all over the place, and everything's all locked up and fucked up and jacked up. And you bring it into one of those guys, and they got it running again in like 30 minutes. They're just so freaking quick at those little motors.
Yeah, it's a whole nother world. They're durable as fuck, and it's hard to really blow them up.
Two-stroke. Like, you just really can't beat a two-stroke. They're so fucking badass. Like, they're so efficient. The way they run is just incredible. Like, you don't have to deal with all the valves and all the bullshit. No chains. They just fucking work. Like, Honda tried putting out I think they made it a 150 to compete with 80s. And it just doesn't. A little fucking 80 dirt bike has like an insane power to weight ratio on it. Like, the fact that we send little kids out on 80s and 65s is really insane, because the power to weight on those things are just fucking nuts. And now they're making super minis up to like 112. So you've got this little 80 frame with big wheels on it and a 112 engine, and they just scream. And then you throw a kid on the 125 and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with this thing? It's so slow.
Yeah.
But that was the point of the 125, is they are slow. And it took a really good rider to, really ride those things the way they needed to be ridden. And you watch those old races, and man, they were so much more entertaining than the newer ones because the bikes were slower. The 125s, if you blow a corner on a 125, you're going to have to make up the next 3 just in order to keep that same gap. Like, it was just such a different dynamic with those bikes, and learning how to carry speed, use the clutch without burning it up. Like, it takes a really talented guy. When they went from 2 strokes to 4 strokes, a lot of the best guys kind of fell off. There was, James could ride anything. He was incredible. Like, he was just an anomaly. He could ride anything. But there was guys like Brandon Jessamine, who was fucking just killing it on an RM 125 for a couple years. And they threw him on the RM 250F, and he couldn't top 10 on the damn thing. And by that point, every other bike is so much faster than the 125 that you don't have a chance on the 125.
Yep.
Well, should we get into the important stuff? Our government's trying to kill us. You know, we're probably going to see a false flag or something like that. You know, it's interesting.
Dude, it's going to be an alien invasion.
Alien invasion. And oh man, I've got a video that I didn't pull it until late, and I was like, oh, I'll show it to Nolan, but we've got too many, so I was going to play it with Dan tomorrow. I'll send it to you after the podcast because it's fucking incredible. And like, there's going to be something's got to happen, right? If my theory is correct and they let the man in to destroy everything around him, alien invasion could be the thing. Project Bluebeam could be it. And last episode I weaved. And then I dropped the weave. I'm going to weave right back into our last episode. I was on ChatGPT one day. This is exactly where we left off. And I was asking it, how many people have died in history from warfare? So what do we get here? Yep, deaths from warfare. Approximately 150 to 200 million. Then I asked it, how many people have been killed overall by democide, which is death by your own government? What do you think that number is?
That sounds like a trick question.
What do you think?
I mean, ChatGPT, with it probably being a little bit, biased and being governed itself, I would probably say never, 0.
100 to 150 million. So essentially, the odds are just as good that you're going to get killed by your own government than by somebody else's. And in this country, where our odds of getting killed by another government is 0, our odds are like 100% more that you are going to get killed by your own government rather than somebody else's. I thought that was fucking wild. Just unbelievable. Like, I know communism is, you know that communism is disgusting and evil and all these horrible things happen, but then you look at the numbers and you're just like, my gosh, how could anybody allow this to happen? And how is this ideology still around? And how are people still trying to force us into this way of life that is just completely against human nature and all of its assets? Like, nothing about communism makes sense in an evolutionary sense or just like a rational sense. It's like, hey, we don't like the way things are, so we're going to change people to change the world into a world that we think it's just such a ridiculous thing. And like, we've played a lot of Jimmy Dore clips on this show, and he drives me nuts. I was just listening to him a little bit on Tucker, and it's like these guys, these leftists that are, Jimmy Dore is in the same camp as like a Tulsi Gabbard or an RFK. These are liberals who are fed up with the current liberal order, right? And they just they're so horrible. They're so horrible on so many things. Anyways, the big news of the week. I kind of weaved in and weaved out again there. I covered it up a little bit, but we're going to weave back into something else. The big news of the week was there was a Nazi rally at Madison Square Garden, just like the Nazis back in the 30s. Yeah, there was, forget about everything else that goes on in the garden. Don't worry about the basketball or, the comedy or any of the other cool shit that goes on in the garden all the time. Nazis. Because you know what? Maybe if we call Donald Trump a Nazi, he'll actually lose. What an idea. How is it that we've never thought of this before? We could have just been calling him a Nazi for the past 10 years and none of this would have happened, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to one of our favorites. Here's Morning Joe.
The opening act, grabbing headlines for all the wrong reasons.
Oh, it's a mashup.
Comedian who offered unfunny, racist, cringeworthy jokes.
Basically calling Puerto Ricans trash.
The most repulsive racial jokes about Latinos.
Disgusting and hateful.
So incredibly crude.
Frankly, just too X-rated to play here.
Extremely
X-rated.
vile so-called jokes.
So-called jokes. Oh my goodness. X-rated, extremely vile so-called jokes that we can't even let you see it. It's so bad, we can't let you see it. So
That's
I
not
guess
X-rated.
we're going to get kicked. Because I guess we're going to get kicked off of YouTube. This is the one. Because we're going to play it. We're going to play this so-called joke. And we're going to get kicked off of YouTube. And all of our millions of subscribers are never going to know where to find us again. So here is... Yeah, oh no. Oh geez. It's so bad, right?
Oh,
so here is the joke from Mr. Tony Hinchcliffe.
Know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay.
We're having fun now.
We're getting there. Again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody.
Now, I have some notes. I'm not a comedian. I've never done comedy before. I did one set on Kill Tony, but it was over the internet, so that doesn't count. He missed it. Do you know where I'm going with this, or are you ready to hear it?
I'm ready.
It's not Puerto Rico. It's Haiti, and now they're over here eating the pets. That's what you do, because Haitians don't vote. Puerto Ricans do. Like, honestly, I don't think any Puerto Rican was put off by this. I saw a video of some Puerto Rican being like, I was going to vote for you, but then I saw this and now I'm going to vote for Kamala. It's like, you're a faggot. Shut up. You were never going to vote for Trump. You're just making a video.
Yeah.
Shut up. We don't believe you, right?
Yeah, and odds are the overwhelming majority of any Puerto Ricans that were attending that were probably not, put off by it. But
no,
they just take that clip. They put it out on the internet. Yeah, it's going to offend some people, but I mean, saying anything is going to offend somebody, right?
Like, racism doesn't bother me. I think it's funny most of the time. Like I've had racism towards me before. I lived in the Hunters Point area of San Francisco, and our nickname was White House because we were the only white people in the neighborhood. Like, that's, fun racism. Like, I don't mind that. It doesn't bother me. One of the things that really bothers me about like videos that I've been seeing on the internet lately is people think that it's justified to beat the shit out of somebody for racism. It's like, watch Karen get destroyed for calling some black guy a nigger. And it's like, why are we punching women for spouting their mouths? Like, they spout their mouths off all the time. Like, this is ridiculous. Just laugh at her and let her go. Like, it's not hurting anybody. It's just words. And like, we're in this environment, for lack of a better words, of like freedom of speech on a complete fucking free fall, right? Like, if Elon doesn't buy Twitter, I don't know what happens in this election, because when I go on Twitter now, all I see is pro Donald Trump memes. I see racist shit. I see people telling liberals to go fuck themselves, like all of the things that you're not supposed to do. And it's fucking disturbing to me that like, you've got these, black males who are proud to be black. Why would you worry about it? Who cares? Just let them go on of their business. You don't need to beat the shit out of a woman because she said something that you didn't like. Like, how fucking immature, and just, it's playing into the stereotypical tropes that are like put onto black people, right? Like, they're not doing themselves any favors in a lot of these videos. There's so many videos on Twitter of just a group of black kids beating the shit out of some, fucking white kid with not Alzheimer's. What's the other one? The fucking retard disease.
Down syndrome.
They're beating on retards. Just black people beating on white retards. And you see it all over the place. And one of the most disgusting things is, I don't know where this clip is, but I found it the other day. There was this clip of these two girls beating the shit out of each other in a hallway. Like, really just, hair's pulling, people are getting beat on. There's 20 people around yelling and screaming on their phones, filming it. Nobody's trying to break it up. And finally, the teachers show up. After a couple minutes, the teachers show up. Good, they're going to break it up. No, the teachers stand above them and go, stop. You guys got to stop this. You got to stop this. Like, this is Michael Malice's great quote: "The public schools are literal prisons for children and the only place most people experience physical violence in their entire lives." When you go to prison, at least most of the time, the guards break up the fights. You go to school and the fucking prison guards just stand there and go, stop. You guys can't do this. Oh, you got to stop. You got to stop. Grab that bitch by the hair and fucking separate them. What the hell is going on here? Like, you can't allow violence to just take place on school grounds like that. Stop it. Like, if anybody is getting sued, like they break it up and they get sued, fuck that judge. That's bullshit. We got to keep our kids safe. The fact that they go to school and have to like live in fear and eat lunch in the bathroom because they're so fucking picked on and bullied, it's just disgusting. that these adults won't do anything about it except complain. All they'll do is complain. We have to stop bullying. We need to find a new... Break up the fight. That's all you got to do. Just break up the fight. Go back to class. That was a pretty decent rant. What do you got?
I don't know, man. I think in a public format, the comedy stuff, freedom of speech, I agree with that. There's time and place to express your First Amendment right. Time, place, manner. Right. There's it's some people I think take advantage of that and more. Family people, like if you want to express yourself and everything, then, go for it. But if you want to actually make an impact and do something about it, it needs to be more on like a public format.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I fully support freedom of speech.
Twitter.
You should be able to say whatever you want.
Say whatever the fuck you want on Twitter. Whenever you want. Whatever you want, whenever you want, to whoever you want.
Exactly.
I got into it with a guy on Twitter the other day. It was just a bootlicker situation with a cop video, and I had to get my 2 cents in. And this fucking douchebag, man, he was claiming that he was an anarchist, but he was clearly just a fucking bootlicker. And it was driving me and this other guy nuts. And I was tagged in all these tweets. So my mentions are just getting blown up by this idiot. And I had to try and you're a fucking moron. It just went on a little bit in that. And then finally, after 5 tweets, the guy was like, I'm not even talking to you. Learn how to internet. I'm like, what the fuck? You learn how to internet. Reply to him then. Don't reply to me. Why are you tagging me? And I said, I can't allow stupidity to go throughout my notifications. I don't give a fuck who you're talking to. Don't tag me in it, you fucking douchebag.
How would you get tagged in it?
Learn how to internet. Fuck you. Stop tagging me. Because I replied to something and then he replied to both of us and then both of us and both of us. I'm not even talking to you. It's like you've just been talking to me for 20 minutes, you dumb shit. I don't know where I was going with that. Just fucking stupid people on Twitter, I'm an anarchist. Just do what the cops say. Fuck you. Fuck the police. You want to hear some more
isn't
Tony
that
Hinchcliffe?
rule 1?
Yeah, fuck the police. If you're an anarchist and you do not believe in fuck the police, you are not an anarchist. Period. Fuck the police. They all have to go. They are all criminals. They are all bad. They're all complicit, They can lie their fucking asses off all day and nothing happens. Like I've said to cops before, those lies may fly with your sergeant, but it ain't going to fly with that guy. So a lot of cops are going to have some rude awakenings when they walk through those gates or those gates.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I was a cop. I did everything right. I was just doing my job. What's all this fire here for? Let's listen to some more Tony Hinchcliffe.
Believe it or not, people, I welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. And by open arms, I mean like this.
Oh, go back. That was great.
It's
silly.
wild. And these Latinos, they love making babies, too. Just know that. They do. They do. There's no pulling out. They don't do that. They come inside, just like they did to our country. Republicans are the party with a good sense of humor.
That's true.
Free speech is under attack, people. I host a show, and each week I get updates what words we're allowed to use and not use anymore.
We still use them.
It's happening right now.
No
the
one
past
cares.
few years. It's a real thing.
I've used at least 3.
You used to be able to tell people to Google stuff. My mom's a boomer in the state of Ohio, and there's no convincing her of anything. She's eating the cats.
She's eating the dogs.
She's eating the dogs. They're eating the pets up there.
I thought it was great. I thought it was a great move to have him come out. I honestly, I don't see anything wrong with the Filipino joke. I thought it was fun. I thought it was silly. That whole go back, that was super fun. Very tame jokes, right? He could have gone in there and really ruffled some feathers if he wanted to. I don't know if you've seen any of his other clips. He really could have led into these people if he wanted to, but I thought he did great. I thought it was a great move to have him there. Just a great move. Funny jokes. wasn't, great jokes, but they can't be great. It's the same thing as like when Shane Gillis won on Saturday Night Live. There's only so much you can really work with there.
Yeah. It was it was good. Like you said, he could have definitely
went hard,
gone full throttle on it, but it's you gotta remember it's supposed to be a political campaign thing.
Yeah. The corporate press freaked out, but Jon Stewart actually had the exact right reaction to this. Let's go.
Vile so-called jokes.
Extremely vile so-called jokes. She name-checked my comedy album from the 90s. Did I really? I don't know who's AI, me or that guy. Now, obviously, in retrospect, having a roast comedian come to a political rally a week before Election Day and roasting a key voting demographic, probably not the best decision by the campaign politically. But to be fair,
it's a bold move.
The guy's really just doing what he does. I mean, here he is at the Tom Brady roast a few months ago.
The great Jeff Ross, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff is so Jewish, he only watches football for the coin toss. Gronk, you look like the Nazi that kept burning himself on the ovens. Kevin is so small that when his ancestors picked cotton, they called it deadlifting.
Yes, of course. Terrible, boo, yes. There's something wrong with me. I find that guy very funny. So,
there's nothing wrong with you, John.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, bringing him to a rally and have him not do roast jokes, that'd be like bringing Beyonce to a rally and not have...
Dude, did you see the video of her as soon as she announced Kamala, like half the crowd stood up and started walking out. It was great. It was beautiful.
Wow.
It was beautiful. Her crowd just shrunk like nothing. They were gone. They weren't there for her. Jon Stewart's out on Kamala Harris. He's out. That's why he did this. He's out because it was either her or Tim Walz on, I don't remember. Just it might have been in the same show even. It could have just been in a different portion of the show. But he was not having the Dick Cheney thing. She brought Dick Cheney up on a rally and was like, look at how great we are. Even Dick Cheney thinks we're good. And Jon Stewart's like, no. We do not want Dick Cheney up there. Like, do we not remember the George W. Bush years? Because that's when he made his money. That's when he got big, was Dick Cheney was Darth Vader. So he still has that, aversion to people like that. So he sees that and goes, no, that was a very bad move. We do not want Dick Cheney at all. Like, this is awful.
Yeah.
What else do we got? We've got AOC. I don't know if I want to listen to AOC. Where are we at? We're at 30 minutes. Let's go with some AOC.
There's a couple of things. As you mentioned, this was a hate rally.
Mm-hmm.
This was not just...
You know what? That was something else I wanted to bring up. I thought that we were the party of joy. We're so joyful. We just love joy. But don't make jokes and don't have fun, you dirty, disgusting pig.
A presidential rally. This was also not just a campaign rally. I think it's very important for people to understand that these are mini January 6th rallies. Ooh. These are mini Stop the Steal rallies. Ooh. These are rallies to prime an electorate into rejecting the results of an election if it doesn't go the way that they want.
That's actually kind of true. Tucker made a great speech in Madison Square Garden. And he basically was like, hey, look, if you guys get up there the day after election and says, oh, Kamala got 85 million votes because she's just so great and everybody loves her and we don't believe you. We're not going to believe you. And that was a message. And Tucker's the guy, like on the right now, right wing, populism, this whole thing. Tucker's the guy. Trump's the guy, ahead. He's, marching. He's making the moves. But Tucker's the guy in the back reading the books and making the decisions. And it was a great move for him to get up there and kind of tell these guys, hey, look, we're not going to buy your bullshit anymore. this whole thing that you did with Biden last time. Yeah, we're not going to buy that again. And if you try it, you may not get away with it this time because we're fucking pissed. You know, and this comes on the heels of Jeff Bezos who owns the Washington Post, sent a directive over that they were not going to be picking a candidate. They were not going to be supporting Kamala Harris. And the LA Times did that again today. So you know, I think these people are hedging their bets. Daddy's getting in and he's not happy. You know, he doesn't like us. So we're just going to tamp it down a little bit because we don't want the wrath. I think that's kind of what's going on there.
Oh, for sure.
Let's continue with this bimbo.
Because Donald Trump and that entire cadre of people up on that stage, Stephen Miller, etc., do not respect the law of the United States of America. And they either want to win this election or they are using rhetoric of taking it by force. That is what they.
So they're using words to take it by force. Nolan, I want you got a raise and you got a bump, and I do all the work on this podcast. You kind of just show up and you know, sit here. So I'm going to need you to give me your raise from now on. All right?
And that's what they're doing when they are inciting violence and hatred against Latinos, against Black Americans, against Americans who don't have children, you have J.D. Vance literally talking about watering down people's right to vote, depending on if they can viably carry a child or not. You have to understand how unhinged this campaign has gotten, and the only reason that the rhetoric has gotten this far is precisely because they are trying to prime the kind of froth that led up to the January 6th attack on the Capitol. And so it's very important that we connect those dots. And right now the campaign is scrambling and they're trying to blame this rhetoric on a so-called comedian. This is not a comedian. This is the Trump campaign.
You're a so-called congresswoman, you bartending bimbo.
They invited this rhetoric on their stage for a reason. It was a chorus of speakers on that campaign for a reason. It was vetted and they knew exactly who was going to say what before they went on. And so the only backtracking that they're doing right now is just because tens of thousands of Puerto Ricans happen to live in Philadelphia, Florida, Michigan, Wisconsin, and also the several swing seats in the House in the House of Representatives that run through the state of New York. And they're just realizing that they might have made a big error by saying out loud what they're thinking.
She just did 2.5 minutes of word salad saying they shouldn't have had a comedian. That's all she really said. You know, a so-called comedian. Shouldn't have had a so-called comedian say racist things. Stretch that out to 2 minutes and use a bunch of words that you don't understand the meaning of. She's the worst. She's the worst. I would hate fuck her so hard. So hard. She deserves it. Right in the behind.
Big booty Latinos.
Right in that big booty. Isn't it funny how she talks like a white woman? Like if you played her voice and said, "Is this a white woman?" 99% of people would go, "Oh yeah." But until she goes, "Latinos." And it's like she takes a big line of Coke and has to, and then calms back down to being white again. It's so fucking disgusting. It's so fake. Nobody buys that shit. I don't even know if she speaks Spanish. Do you think, should we ask ChatGPT if she speaks Spanish? That'd be fun, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Does AOC speak Spanish? Yes. Damn it. You're lying. It's lying. It's lying. It's lying. I don't know. Maybe she does. Anyways, like, it's just so stupid. It's a hate rally. How much hate was going on in there? They were groaning when he made the Puerto Rican joke. They weren't laughing at it. They were, oh, like, you know, it's like that gay thing that people do when you tell an offensive joke. It's like, shut up. Laugh or don't. Don't give me that. Like, don't clap the applause when somebody's like, I think that it's stupid if somebody wants to, you know, control my body. And everybody goes, yeah, oh, you're so right. It's like, that wasn't funny. You weren't telling jokes. You're supposed to be telling jokes. Make me laugh, clown. Stop with this shit. That's a pretty good show title. Make me laugh, clown. All right, just to show how much of a hateful rally this was, there was a bunch of Latinos and black people, Latinos and black people outside of the Trump rally, and they were feeling the hate.
Heard that Nazis were supposed to be here. That's what Hillary Clinton said. So we out here to see. Have you seen the Nazi today?
We are the Nazi party. Yes.
Yeah. Yo, I'm white though. I'm the
Nazi right here. Yes.
Yeah.
Dominican Nazi.
Dominican Nazi.
Latina
Nazi. We got.
Oh, I'm the black Nazi.
Black Nazi.
The biggest blackest Nazi you ever seen in your life.
I'm the Jewish Nazi. The Jewish Nazi. Listen, I'm the cool Nazi.
I'm the white Nazi.
I'm the Nazi. We out here, baby.
He's the white
Nazi. And he's the white Nazi.
With his Jewish flag.
He's the
all united here to make Donald J. Trump the 47th president of the United States.
A lot of hate going on.
Stop listening to the media.
A lot of hate. A lot of hate there. That's
Dude,
so
that clip
beautiful to
is
see.
fucking gold.
It's great, right? Like, it's a beautiful thing. Like, it's funny,
I'm a
and
black
it's also
Nazi.
kind of like
I'm a Jewish
endearing
Nazi.
and like, oh, kind of, you get that like, oh, they're coming together, they love each other, like they're just people, they don't care. Like, that's the country that me and you grew up in, right? Like, we grew up in a country where people got along, and I've told this story on the podcast many times, but I'll say it again. Like, my ex-wife was Iranian. When we got together, there was no thought about like having mixed children or an interracial wedding. Like, those things just weren't in the zeitgeist at that point. Like, it never crossed my mind. But now that would be a big deal. You know, it would have to be, you're going to have a conversation with your significant other. If that's, hey, is this something that our families are going to get behind? Is this going to cause friction down the line for some reason? Is the government going to come down on us? Like, there's serious conversations to be had about things like that now, and it's disgusting. It shouldn't happen. People should just, love who they want to love and hang out with who they want to, associate with who you want to. This whole like grouping together of all black and brown people and all of LGBTQ, you all just, we all think the same way and believe the same things. So we have to vote as one. It's so fucking stupid. Treat people as individuals. Like, go back to that. There was a great fucking video that I might be able to find, but I'll filibuster while I'm looking for it. It was just this really great video that showcased like how the country used to be. Like, we used to live in a country full of badasses that, had fun and did things that they wanted to do, not things that they felt like they had to do. And were just really willing to like hang it out and be a badass. Man, I can't find this video. But anyways, it was a video of the 1995 Hoosier 500. And it was during the sight lap. So everybody's going out. You got the pace car in front of them. And they had 4 Apache helicopters like 20 feet above, just ripping around the track. And it was like, man, that's the country that we grew up in. Like, that was where we were badasses. I remember on New Year's Eve, year 2000, Y2K, we were all piled out in this neighborhood and everybody bought just a shitload of fireworks, And we ended up like running out of fireworks at some point. And somebody grabbed, I think it was me, I grabbed like a box of toilet paper out of somebody's garage. And I poured a bunch of lacquer fluid on it and I packed a couple of fireworks in it. And I don't know why we did this, but it just caught on fire. And then I kicked it and it went, and it died back down. And then somebody else kicked it. And then we lit about 5 of them on fire. And then we're all kicking them. And we're playing fucking kickball with flaming toilet paper. We called it flaming shit rag. And it was great. Like, I saw a video the other day of this woman screaming in the middle of the street, "Stop! Stop! I live here, stop!" Because the neighbors are lighting off fireworks. And it's like, fuck you, lady. Go back to your fucking house and hide under your pillow. This is America. We light fireworks off on the 4th of July. We don't do this. That is not what we do in America. You can go to Canada if you want to act like that and be a fucking cuck. Like, we're not having that shit here. And I really hope that we go back in that direction, but I'm fearing that we won't. I think it's just going to get more and more safe spaces, padded rooms, fucking put stuff over the corners.
That's a scary thing. It's like
a no fun zone. That was something that my dad was always great about. It was like, see that? That's a no fun zone. We don't want to be in there. That's not how we do things around here. We don't like these no fun cops. His line was always to me, it was like, fuck the police. Their only goal is to destroy your day. They get up every day and all they think about is how they're going to destroy your day. So fuck those people. And he was right about that. He was absolutely right about that. Al never read anything about libertarian politics. He's about as libertarian as you can get. If he read the shit, he would be like, oh yeah, this is how things are supposed to be. But he got that shit because he got common sense. And he grew up in a country where you could experience things and make mistakes and try things. I heard Patrick Bet-David made a great speech one time. He was like, in America, you have the freedom to buy, the freedom to sell, and the freedom to fail. And if you don't have the freedom to fail, you don't have a country because you have to fail to innovate. Look at Henry Ford, bankrupt multiple times, but then he invented the greatest thing in modern history, the assembly line, changed everything. And he had to have the freedom to fail to figure that out. Yeah. And he figured out a lot of shit. The socialists will tell you that unions are the reason that we have a 5-day work week. No, not true at all. Henry Ford is the reason that we have a 5-day work week because he found that if he gave people 2 days off, they would work harder, they would buy more shit, and they would buy stuff from him. And now we all work on a 5-day work week because it just works out better that way. Not all of us. I worked, 14 on, 5 off, and, some people do have weird schedules, but that was a function of capitalism, of competition, not of top-down control, not of central planning. Like, these are how you really figure things out. Individuals, there's a great video that I'm going to send you after this that you might want to watch sometime. There's this channel called Veritasium where the guy's just a scientist and he does these science videos. And I like to watch stuff like that at night. So I'll go onto his channel and I'll go to Popular and I'll just kind of scroll down. And I scrolled past this episode one time, like a bunch of times, because I just wasn't interested. And it said, the thumbnail was, it had a red LED, a green LED, and a blue LED. And it said, easy, easy, almost impossible. And I was just like, I don't really care about blue LEDs. Like, who cares, right? And then I watched the video and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking incredible. The blue LED was almost impossible to make. Every big company, all of these big like tech companies all tried to do it and failed. And it came down to one guy who worked for this small business who thought he could do it. And he convinced the boss that he could do it. And if you give me the money, I'll figure it out. And without that blue LED, we would not have white LEDs. So all of these lights that we're using right now, these LED lights for our studios, I have LED lights over my plants in the house, all because of that blue LED. And it came down to one guy, one fucking guy who thought he could do it. And if that guy didn't do it, we still might not have those LEDs because all those big companies look at it and they go, spent billions of dollars, failed, spent billions of dollars, failed, spent billions of dollars, failed. We're not even going to dip our toe into that water at this point. But it takes somebody that has out of the box thinking to really create something special. And that's why like most innovation does not come from the top. Like Amazon got to where it is by innovating, but now they're in a space where it's too expensive and it's too risky to innovate. So you're going to have to wait for another upstart to come in and figure out something even better.
Yeah.
I think that like we have an Amazon like warehouse right by my house. It's an automated facility. Why the fuck can't I just go buy something and go pick it up the same day? You've got an automated facility. Just put it into a box and I'll pick it up. That saves you gas money. You don't have to hire another driver. I could wait for it for another day so you could get it out to a driver. But why not? If I'm already in the area, I'm going to the grocery store, let me come and pick up my items and save you money. But they don't do that.
Well then,
all right.
Yeah. Did it say what the deal was with the blue LED?
Yes, it explained. It was just really hard. Like, I don't remember the exact line of why it was so hard, but it was like nearly impossible. And it started so small. Like the guy, when he finally got it, it was just, you could barely even see anything, but it was there. And he was like, okay, we've got something. Now we're cooking with gas. Like I got it. I figured out what now I got this part of it. Now I got to figure out this part of it. And then we'll figure out that part. And it's a great story of innovation and capitalism to me. Like I really enjoyed that video. I've told a bunch of people about it because it was just so interesting to see something like that. Because like if you take the, you listen to our scientists, these guys go on Joe Rogan and what do they talk about? We need more money for bigger projects, right? More money, bigger projects. But all of the major innovations in science over the, past 200-300 years have all came from individuals working on their own. Einstein didn't have money behind him. These guys who figured out quantum mechanics, they didn't have money on them. This was just individuals figuring out things that had to happen. When they figured out that, how do I explain this? They figured out that it was possible to split it, theoretically possible to split an atom, which is how you get the atom bomb, right? And right away, everybody was like, well, this is really cool, but it's impossible. Like, we'll never be able to do that. 10 years later, they had the bomb. It takes, you have to open your mind up. You look at something and go, that's impossible. But somebody else can look at it and go, oh, no, I know how to do that. And it could come from, somewhere way out in left field. That's one of the most interesting parts of the Bob Lazar story, that they weren't bringing in all of these big companies to work on the UFOs, that they were trying to find mad scientists to bring in and work on a little piece of it and a little piece there and a little piece there. That's interesting to me because one of the things that is pointed out about ufology is that there's no missing degrees. Like all of our degrees are tracked. If there was a bunch of missing quantum mechanics degrees and physics degrees, like we've got a bunch of people with these degrees and we don't know where they work, then that would kind of point to a black facility or something like that, right? But we don't have that. We don't have missing degrees. So maybe these projects, if they do exist, aren't in Raytheon. They aren't in Lockheed Martin. Maybe they're in a bunker somewhere with a Bob Lazar working on it. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point. Like with you said with splitting the atom and the atom bomb and the UFO thing, because that's kind of the same technique they took with the atom bomb, right? With what the fuck was it called? Manhattan Project. Is that what it was?
Yeah, the Manhattan Project. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
they brought in the best of the best
and split it up into sections to keep everything kind of quiet. Nobody knew exactly what was going on, but everybody in these experts in these fields were working on
had their piece,
specific pieces.
Specialization. That's another thing that we really overlook in our current society is specialization. We have our modern way of life because of specialization. There's no single person on the planet that can make a pencil or a toaster. Like all of these things have to be done in different factories by different machines, and then they're put together all at once, right? What they're doing to us in college is they are not making you specialize. They are giving you a broad education where you actually learn nothing. You learn a little bit about a few things, and it's all propagandized and put through their lenses of how it, really is, or you don't really know. But the point is they're not teaching you a specialization. Like you went to school because you work on motorcycles, and they're going to teach you how to work on motorcycles really well. Harleys. Not dirt bikes, not street bikes, Harleys. You could still be an overall mechanic and work on every bike, but your specialty is fucking Harleys because that's what you were taught the most of. So you're working on a Harley. We've got all these specialized positions throughout the government, throughout, capitalism, but they're not teaching that in schools. Like they're not trade schools are the best because they're teaching you how to do one thing really well, and they're giving you a great baseline to start on. That's all you need. We didn't have to do a ton of math or basic electrical theory. You give us the basics, it's all we really need. We don't use any of that shit in the field. That's for the engineers to deal with, right? Like even finding the density of a pole, you can measure a pole, you can take the diameter of the top, the bottom, and the length. Every wood has a different density to it, so you take the density of pine, multiply it by this, divide it by that, and you get the weight of a pole. You don't have to do that in the field. That's for the engineers to do. The engineers figured out, they spot the shit, and then we come and build it, right? they give us a little bit of background so we know what the engineers are doing. Because if we don't know what the engineers are doing, then we're just showing up blind. So they give us a little bit, just enough so that we can keep our heads where we need to be. And they want to treat everybody like an AI. Just learn about liberal stuff. Like as a good liberal, you have to know about climate change, and you have to know about healthcare, and you have to know about fucking, schools and all of this bullshit that really none of us need to know anything about. 99% of the shit that I learned in college was fucking worthless. And the 1% of the stuff I did learn, I will never use in the real world. Never.
You should do like a pirate ad for Boise State or something.
I've thought about going back to college because I could go for free, and I could get a degree in engineering or philosophy. Either one of those I think would be interesting. It would be nice to be able to go on Twitter and be like, I'm a philosopher, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah. That'd be a big flex.
Yeah. The best book that I've ever read on climate change was not written by a scientist. It was written by a philosopher.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was called The Moral Case for Fossil Fuels. And it was a great book. And his point was like, basically, fossil fuels have given us civilization. And that's good. We should be, and his whole point is like human flourishing. That's what we really should care about. If fossil fuels can contribute to human flourishment, good to go. Use the shit out of them, right?
Yeah.
It's a great book. And it was by a philosopher, not a scientist. And I've read some of the scientist books on them. They're just not as good because they're trying to do math with this stuff. And math just doesn't work with this. Like we have no idea. The weathermen can't fucking predict what the weather's going to be here in Idaho for 2 days, but the Farmer's Almanac can tell you basically what's going to happen for 6 months to a year, right? And one of them is using old methods, and one of them is using math and science. Pick which one you like. I have a Farmer's Almanac. I buy one every fucking year because they know better than the weathermen. I got another interesting video. Where are we at? 52 minutes. Okay, we've got Chris Cuomo, Kamala Harris. Oh my goodness, we've got a bunch of fuck the police videos. Should we just move on to fuck the police? Let's see. Nobody here, AR-15s. Okay, let's just go to the fuck the police section of the podcast. Let's check in on Minnesota, where our next vice president is doing a great fucking job.
This was a shocking moment caught on camera. Video obtained by our NBC affiliate KARE 11 shows David Matori trimming a tree outside his Minneapolis home Wednesday when, according to court documents, a bullet was fired from his neighbor's upstairs window.
I can't
sleep. The bullet went down through my neck and then all the way back to my spine.
Matori told NBC affiliate KARE 11 he's also recovering from broken ribs and a concussion. Adding, the last 11 months since he and his wife moved in, they've been living a nightmare next door to John Shawshak. Court documents show the victim called police 19 times prior to the shooting for incidents including harassment, hate speech, and verbal threats. It also says Shawshak suffers from mental illness.
Harassment, hate speech, and verbal threats. Hate speech. Once you throw hate speech in there, now I'm not quite sure. But I would imagine this guy is probably an asshole. I mean, he did shoot him for using a chainsaw, so... Continue. Yeah.
Shawshak has been charged with attempted murder, but he is not in jail.
What?
Police allowing him to stay in his home because they say he's a threat to himself and others.
What?
The likelihood of an armed, violent confrontation where we may have to use deadly force with the suspect in this case is high.
That excuse sparking community outrage.
We have to take violent criminals off the street.
The victim is still living
so
next door.
I'm not a police officer. I don't know how that gets done, but I know it needs to get done.
Police say Shawshak rarely leaves his home, and the department has not set an arrest date.
We are not going to bust the door down, guns blazing, and get into a deadly force situation. But we will ensure the community will be safe.
Matori says he feels the Minneapolis Police Department failed to protect his family by not arresting his neighbor when they needed them most.
If you're saying you're scared, what does that do to me, you know? Like, you have this body armor, you have the professional training.
Dana Griffin.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Let's just let him stay. We don't want to get hurt. Oh, God. And,
why don't you just move? Why doesn't that guy just move?
Yeah, just move.
That's
why
insane,
doesn't the government
man.
just give him money to buy another house away from everybody? We'll just do that, Prison reform.
Yeah, maybe like a
let's
secluded
lock up.
cabin.
Let's lock people up all the time for just having a gun, but then this guy shoots his neighbor for making too much noise, and we'll just let him stay. It's all right. We don't want to get hurt. That'd be scary. We get scared. Ooh, gosh. Which brings us to our. Go ahead.
That's creating curating a situation where there's gonna be like actual freaking violence, and then that guy's gonna retaliate. The guy that got shot's gonna retaliate, and then they're gonna put him in jail for life.
Exactly.
For attempted murder.
And they'll beat the shit out of him, tase him a bunch of times.
Yeah.
That brings us to our next fuck the police, and this is a response. I wish this guy would go to Minneapolis and tell the cops the same thing that he told this fucking cop.
Safety is cowardice. I'm not trying to argue. Go hide in a hallway at Uvalde, you goddamn coward. Talking about your fucking safety, you make me sick. Go hide in a fucking hallway at Uvalde, you coward. Talking about officer safety, 19 fucking officers standing outside, not doing shit, letting kids fucking get slaughtered, and you want to talk about officer safety? You've got a lot of fucking balls, man. You've got a lot of fucking balls, man.
That might be the most based video we have ever played on this podcast. Like, just fucking incredible. And that cop has nothing to say. Nothing. Because what are you gonna say? Like, your job is to jump in the line of fire, you goddamn coward. Oh, our safety, our safety. They shoot people every fucking day in this country because of their safety. Oh, we have to walk up to cars and we don't know who are in the cars. So, we have for our safety. There are thousands of videos on the internet of people getting stopped, felony stops where they get surrounded by cops, ARs yanked, get out of the car, march backwards, lay on your face like you're a fucking dog, you piece of shit. Turns out that the computer read the license plate wrong, or that, somebody had the wrong license plate. Wasn't actually stolen, Thousands of these fucking videos. And people just terrified for their lives, as they should be. These fucking cowards are trigger happy and they'll shoot anybody if they can. Oh, man. Like, I have to fix my car. After watching all of these videos, like, I've done some changes in my fucking house, and the last thing I need to do is I have to replace the cigarette lighter in my car so I can get a fucking dash cam, because there are so many videos of people just being saved by dash cams. It's fucking wild. I saw one the other day. I should have clipped it. It was, so this woman's driving. She's on the phone. She's got a dash cam. So you're looking at dash cam video. This car pulls up next to her, kind of swerves. And she's like, what the fuck? And slows down. She's talking to her husband. She's like, oh my God, somebody just almost hit me. And the car swerves in front of her, slams on the brakes. She slams on the brakes, doesn't hit him, just close as hell. The other car pulls forward 6 feet, puts it into reverse, and then slams into the back of them. And then they pull a Chinese fire drill and put the person from the back runs around to the front and gets in the driver's seat. And then they all get out and like, oh, my neck. And they're like with their phones and they come around. And she's like, I have a fucking dash cam, right? And they're like, oh, well, we've got food in the car. We've got ice cream. So we got to go. Just give us your information and we'll call you. Like, oh, you pieces of shit. You fucking slime balls. Oh, that made me mad. Get a dash cam. Get a dash cam, people. How fast do you think you were going? I know how fast I was going. How fast do you think I was going? I've got a dash cam. Yep. That ticket gets thrown in the garbage every fucking time because they don't gun you. They don't know. I had a cop tell me one time, even better, I saw a video recently where this cop pulled a guy over and he goes, you're speeding. And he goes, how fast was I going? He goes, you were going 10% above the speed limit. And he goes, what's the speed limit? 35. So he goes, so I was doing 38.5 miles an hour? How the fuck would you know that? And it's like, yeah, you're a liar. Yeah. That's how, like, so stupid. All right, what are we at? We're at 59 minutes. We'll skip the pig video. This is, we'll do two more. We'll go a little late. This one was, I'm kind of torn on this one.
I'm not impressed. That would be a lie. I would say incredibly unique. In my experience with the encampment team so far, I haven't seen anything this extensive, this elaborate. We're just off Fulton Creek in the 34th Street area, just off of a local dog park. We're responding to an illegal encampment that's been set up. They've got solar panels. We recovered 4 generators, 2 of which were buried underground to power everything. There is a creek, like I mentioned, and they have a generator stuck into the ground there to pump water to the site for a running sink and laundry machine as well. So this is the more extensive of the 2 sites here, if you want to follow me. It's a little bit tight.
Badass complex.
Yeah, that's
we had
fucking
a
impressive.
fireplace, obviously chimney.
I knew a guy in Maui that built a place like this, similar, but it didn't have to be enclosed because it's so hot. He had these hammocks everywhere. He had like a big circus hammock underneath everything. It was a really cool place.
Up front, out the top there, operational sink, operational laundry machine, fridge, laundry, coffee maker. And then if you wanted to capture the floor, this was all natural earth, but they brought in stone tiles. The flooring is not something I had seen before at one of these encampments. It was all installed, almost marble flooring. This is all connected to their solar panels. A bit of a chop shop was going on. Yeah, we got welding equipment. We removed the bikes to check the serial numbers, and it just kind of goes further back and back. We've come across shotgun shells.
Guns,
knives, machetes, and a couple other firearms located within the encampment here. One of our park rangers had his drone out earlier. It was very difficult to see with the black tarping and obviously the leaves and earth that they use to conceal it here. The fencing that they've created goes all the way around inside the property, even outside a little bit there, and with how thick they kind of interlocked the branches, it's actually difficult to see, especially in the middle of summer. When we arrived, we were able to confirm that 5 people were sleeping here. The one gentleman who did admit to being here the longest did state that he was here since last winter. Honestly, extreme safety concerns. As you may have seen, you've seen the fireplaces. There is wires strung in and around the whole area inside the houses there. That is definitely not secure. As you can see, there's no nails, there's no rope or anything.
I bet you for officer safety, they had to have some engineers come in and shore up everything before they can remove the guns.
Bad gust of wind one bad weather night, and that thing could come down and crush whoever's inside, unfortunately. There's not a lot of access to food, grocery stores, anything like that out here, and I think that just goes to show how widespread that these encampment issues are becoming from the downtown core.
I think they should have left it.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? They're going to kick these people out, and then they're going to go live on their streets downtown where they're going to be begging for money. They're going to be setting tents up, pissing and shitting on the ground, drugs. Let them keep it, man. Like, that's what they did in Maui. They could have torn down the entire area where people were making camps, but it was like, we can let them live in the grass, or they're going to be living on the streets. Like, it's a problem no matter what.
Yeah.
And the whole, it's unsafe. Give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break. It's far more safer for them to be living in that house than on a street in Edmonton, fucking Canada, where it's freezing ass cold,
Yeah. And if they're mind their own business, they're not fucking like, they said it was near a dog park or whatever, as long as they're not fucking like harassing people, like, getting all fucked up and just causing a bunch of fucking like disturbances, whatever, if they're actually just trying to live in peace, like in their fucking little camp, leave them alone.
Yeah.
What do you want? What do they need to pay some property taxes and then you'll fucking be okay?
Dude, like, it's Jesus. Already fucking state land or public land, however you want to look at it. It's like you're doing nothing with that area. I guarantee you the major reason why they got rid of it was pollution. That's what they're always bitching about with the marijuana grows in Northern California. Oh, the pollution. They use chemical. The erosion. Erosion always fucking cracks me up because that's one of the things about dirt bikes is dirt bikes are loud. They cause pollution and erosion. It's like, oh, so we're moving dirt from one area to another faster than nature? Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Call the fucking cops. Jeez Louise. All right, I got one more for us, and then we'll get out of here. This is just a funny video. I love these. Twitter's so racist. It's so fun. It's so much more fun than it used to be. This is a black band getting trolled in the comments, so I will read the comments as they are playing. Rage Against Child Support. Black 182. My Criminal Romance. 30 Seconds to Jail. African American Rejects. Audio Slaves. Guns and Rosa Parks. Lincoln Dark. Good Charlotte. System of a Brown. Drown in Pools. Bowling for Crack. All is in Chains. 3 Hoods Down. Rob Zombie. Jamal Eat World. Theft Tones. Metallica. Smashing Watermelons. Matchbox 20 to Life.
Oh, fuck.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Until next week. Hey, next Tuesday, Election Day. I expect you to be here.